Hi everybody, you're with Donna and Cheryl from Now Is Your Time, and today on our Life Lessons podcast we're speaking to another gorgeous friend of our community, and that's Christine Chan. And Christine has had such an eventful life already, and when we met Christine and we spoke to her, she had so many lessons that were just brimming, that she is ready and really wanting to share with the world, to try and pay it forward and use her incredible life lessons, which is so humbling, to help other people out there. So we really want to give Christine the platform to do that. So hi Christine.
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction and for inviting me on your platform. Hi everyone.
Oh, we're so honoured to have you here, honestly. And as you can tell by Christine's beautiful accent, she is not dialing in from the northeast of England.
No. Yeah, my accent is a bit messed up.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
You're in California today, right?
Yes, I'm currently in Irvine, California. So it's just south of Los Angeles. And it's a long story how I ended up here, but I can share it now.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear. So tell us, where did this all start? Tell us about you.
Definitely. So if I were to sum up my story in 2 words, it's being a global citizen, being a third culture kid. So just this year, I moved 8 times. So it's pretty crazy. And in my whole life, I traveled solo to over 25 countries and lived in 5. So it sounds exciting, right? But of course, this created a lot of fiction because we as humans, we crave stability. So because of this fiction, it created a lot of eventful stories that I'm excited to share, and lessons as well. So that's my story. As a profession, I'm a marketing strategist. So I've worked with the Taiwanese government to market our country. So I'm from Taiwan, a small little country in Asia. And I've helped the government market Taiwan to India, Vietnam, and the Philippines. So that's my thing. I've always been in marketing strategy. Yeah. And now I'm transitioning into becoming a mindset and personal development speaker and author. So that's the goal right now.
That's brilliant. I know you're going to be so successful at that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet.
How did this global citizenship start then? Tell us, start there. How did that come about?
Actually, since my family business, we're in tourism. So since I was young, it's always been going around. And I've always been a rebel. Like I can't stay. I don't like it when a place is, it's already enough. I don't like to be the smartest one in the room. So it's constantly, as long as there's an opportunity, it's to go out and compete, whether in startup and tech competitions, because I've dealt with that before, like startups and entrepreneurship, or whether it is to bring students to new places. So that's where it began. So I've always been that ambitious woman. And I feel like a lot of the people in your audience can relate, like the ambitious go-getter girl.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many of us out there now too.
Yes.
And I think we want to change the world with what we know and what we can share and what we can bring to the world, which is beautiful.
Definitely. But everything changed 2 years ago. Something eventful happened in my life. So I've always been, again, that go-getter girl, right? And as a go-getter, you might be able to relate. You sometimes forget that there are people around you. For me, that was what happened. I forgot about my family. It was all about drive, ambition. We got to get there, whatever figure that is. But 2 years ago, my mother got diagnosed 4th stage cancer, unfortunately. Because of cigarette smoking. So it's very, very terrible. She was back in Taipei. So I moved back to Taipei, like long-term with her, and took care of her, and took the role as the primary caregiver. So if you can relate, being a caregiver is not fun at all. And no one talks about it. No one talks about it because people are always looking at the patient. It's like you have no right to be sad. It's like, it's all about the patient. And I felt that too. Like there's a lot of things that I felt I didn't deserve to be happy, and all of those things. Yeah. So you were supposed to.
Where were you when that happened? Where were you in the world, and what were you doing at that time?
I was in Manila. Actually, I was between Manila and San Francisco. So there was that. And then I flew back to Taiwan for that and just lived there.
And we were chatting, weren't we, Christine, about there's something to do with your culture. So for all you'd moved away from Taiwan. Talk to us a little bit about that, the culture piece.
The culture piece, like going back to Taiwan, definitely. So since I was young, I've been traveling a lot, right? And I think as a society, when we look at a person, we think, okay, she is Taiwanese, she's English, she's American, she should act that way. But when I went back to Taiwan, I felt like I was Taiwanese, but I did feel like I belonged. There were a lot of nuances. So people would judge me, like, why are you so loud? Like, why are you so happy? Because we can't really smile that big in Taiwan. They will think you're crazy. Like, not big smile. It's just like, you have to be more demure. So I felt like I was an outcast. So there was that feeling too. So going back, it was always raining, just like the UK, always raining. I couldn't relate to anyone. Then my mom, it was a whole like victimhood kind of environment.
That's incredible. But you know, I don't know that we can relate. I think now, especially in the UK, when people get sick and when our relatives get sick, I think our expectation is kind of like the government or the NHS or these carers are going to step in, because it's like, I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think we really see it as our problem. I think we almost see it as a state problem, and why aren't they doing more? And whereas I think from, you said Taiwanese culture and lots of other cultures around the world, you care for your peers and your elders and your parents. That's part of your role, isn't it? When you grow up, even if you live away, you're expected to come back and take that role, as you said.
Definitely.
I can't imagine what that's like, you know. I mean, wait, did you give up your job? Did you take your job with you? What was that?
So that was actually the time that I took the role for the Taiwanese government. So it's a blessing in disguise. I've always been in tourism, but this one is like for the government. So that was fun, but it's very, because the government job is more, what do you call this? The Chinese that we use there is very traditional. It's just like the English, it's like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
In English.
So
it's a different language. So transitioning to was difficult, but it was good in hindsight. So there's that.
When you were caring for your mum, then tell us about, like, where were you living? What was your day-to-day life like? Because it sounds hard, but I feel like we can't glance over that, because there's so many people out there now caring for people that want to.
Definitely. And this is why I think my message is mainly really for not just ambitious women, but also the ambitious women who have to take the role of as a caregiver, whether it's your husband, it's your boyfriend, or your family. I learned three main things at the hospital. So I lived in the Cancer Institute with my mother. Like literally, I lived with her. So there was the bed of my mom with her like tubes and everything, and I was beside her. Right. And every day you wake up, you smell the, what do you call this? Not just urine, but the medicine. That's the kind of environment I lived in. And there was the three main lessons that I learned living in that Cancer Institute. So the first thing is I was able to face death. It's the first time that I was able to see death clearly in the eye. You know, as an ambitious woman, it's all about success. But you look at successful people beside my mom's hospital room, and you're just like, they're no different than people. And it got me into an existential crisis. What is the purpose of my chasing success? What is the purpose of striving for more if we all end up dying? So there's that. But I found solace in Buddhism, actually. So I read a lot of Buddhist texts and Stoic texts, and my conclusion on death is, again, the question, why should we live if we're going to die, is from a beautiful quote by Albert Camus. He's a French philosopher, existentialist. He talks about how living is the best way to say, can I say swear words here?
Yes, do it.
Okay, it's like saying fuck you to death. No.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not because you're dying, you're gonna live like you're dying. You're gonna be like, fuck you, I'm gonna live my life to the max. So that was my mindset that I realized, look, everyone's gonna die. We are only given a limited amount of time. What are you gonna do with your life, Christine? So that was the time when I was already thinking about going into, again, psychology and everything, because I felt like that was my calling. So it got me into that. So I believe that death is really what makes people realize how to live and to start living instead of, watching television the whole day. I mean, no offense, but, we only have one life. So definitely. So,
and I don't think we really, until we're faced with it, isn't something we really deal with. And even when we do have to deal with death, we're so uncomfortable. I think as English people as well, probably like money and death, like you don't speak about it.
It's a taboo. It's a taboo. People are so afraid to talk about it, and I think it is us. It's an ego talking. You can't believe you're gonna die, right? And the moment you have your ego is the moment that there's misery, because you can't let go of things that you can't control, like death.
That's so true.
Yes.
That's so true. And did you learn that from studying the principles of Buddhism? Yeah.
And Stoicism philosophy, and just sitting there and reflecting, because yes, you're really like, when you see people dying like in different rooms, you start reflecting on things.
God, yeah.
So there was that, and I have a daily journal. So I think that really helped. So I journaled my whole journey in the Cancer Institute in my journal, and just writing about, philosophizing about the meaning of life. So
that sounds like a book. That sounds like something, not in a depressing way, because actually the journey about your mum's death was actually one of the things that's brought your life about, hasn't it? And
100%. It's a glaring, what do you call this? It's like life's telling to you, Christine, wake up. What are you doing? Pleasing people with whatever you're doing. It's time to wake up. So there's that. And number 2, was love is all we need. So again, love is all we need. So looking at all of the people who are passing away, and I see 2 kinds of people in the hospital. The first one is a room with flowers, with cake, with people, with family. And there's the other rooms where there's just one person slowly dying with just a nurse. So I reflected, at the end of life, Christine, who do you want to be? How do you want your life to be? Do you want an empty room with lots of money in the bank? Sure, but it's empty. Or do you want a room where it's filled with love and abundance? And at that moment, I said to myself, you're not going to die like that, like alone. What's the point of money if you're doing it alone? So again, love is all we need. And it's the realization that family, friends, these are the relationships that we need to prioritize. So there's that.
No, I love that. I love there's so much around that. I could have like a whole hour just on the thing. Just going back to your first lesson. So can you explain to people, because I think people often think as well that Buddhism is a religion.
Right.
And it isn't, right? So do you want to explain why Buddhism is so powerful?
Wow, I can talk a whole hour about Buddhism too. Super, because I actually enrolled in a Buddhism class in Taiwan, like literally like learning from the monks. And what do you call this? Buddhism can be a religion, but again, it's a philosophy. And what Buddhism, actually, it's important to look at where Buddhism came from. Buddhism is a philosophy which is trying to see how we can solve the problem of suffering. So it's just one word, suffering. How do we solve suffering? That's why we have the 4 Noble Truths. It's all about how suffering is a reality and how are we going to solve it. And the whole Buddhism philosophy is all about how the way to solve suffering is to realize that there is no you. Basically, it's like there's no ego. Right? How do you learn the art of non-attachment? Which I think is so relevant now in our age, because we talk about success, we talk about being someone. It's always individualistic. Now, there is value in being individualistic, but it becomes a problem when you try again to control things you can't control. So Buddhism basically teaches you how to let go of control and let the universe take care of you. It's trusting that there's something going on in the world, and that is so liberating. Yeah,
I would urge people really, if you're inspired by what Christine's saying as well, to look into it. You can get classes on it, and it very much uplifts you in a very soulful way. And about serving and not
definitely. And I have a story to share, actually. The one story in Buddhism text that changed my life and changed my perspective on death. So, hello? So can I share it? So at first I was very attached. Thank you. So I was very attached with my mother's death. So if you're encountering that, I feel you. It's like I can't let go of her. I just can't. And the Buddhist text that really got me out of it is when the passage says, when the water, you put fire on it, what happens?
Then the water evaporates.
Yeah. Now with the water, put it in the refrigerator, what happens to it? It freezes. But whether it's ice, whether it's water, whether it's fog, what is it? It's water, essentially. So what it's saying is, it made me realize my mom, even if she leaves this world, is just another form.
Just another form.
She doesn't disappear. She is just another form. Life just took her. But she is still there. An energy, maybe different, but she is still there. And she came from somewhere too. And that's when I realized you don't lose people. You lose them in physical form, sure, but they're always going to be there. And that gave me comfort in knowing that my mom, as long as I don't forget her, she'll always be with me. So I think that's something beautiful about Buddhism. It teaches you that nothing is lost.
It just transitions, it just changes.
And it's so comforting.
Absolutely, I love that.
That's a lovely story.
And love is all you need. So
how 100%.
Did that help you? Because I know you'd had a more turbulent relationship with your mom, hadn't you, when you lived away and things?
Oh, right.
How did that conclude? Did you have the opportunity to come to peace with your relationship with your mom?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So, this is another one. So she left us when we were 9 years old.
Wow.
So there's a lot of hatred. I really, but hated her. Hated her because I had to take it. My brother was so young. I had to take on the motherly role. And it's absolute hate, when not my kid, I call him my kid already, but when my brother goes, it's a graduation ceremony, and everyone has mommy and daddy, and there my brother has sister. It's so weird. And he's just like, why am I the only one with a sister? And I was just like, I hated my mother. So when just a lot of anger, and when she had cancer, I was like, am I gonna take care of this mom who caused me so much misery? So much misery, and it was very, very difficult. And so my mom's side relatives, I didn't share this, but they started calling me. So it's filial piety. It's a Chinese concept of you have to take care of your mom regardless of how she is. So they started calling me like, you have to take care of your mom even if she left you, because she's your mom. Then there's a lot of authority figures, and even my mom was like, I'm giving you my inheritance. So you better take care of me. She's like using money to like, she's like, I earned so much money for you, so you better come take care of me, something like that. So it was a lot of resistance. How do you take care of someone you dislike?
How did you do with them? What was what was that like? When you first, obviously you're in a different place by the end, but when you arrived there, what resistance did you have? Like, how was that coming with you?
Oh my goodness, my face, I was not happy. Like I can't even cry. I was so mad, because why would you smoke yourself to cancer? I was so mad. But again, I now know that cancer is not just because of smoking, it's also genetics. But I was so mad. Like when I looked at my mom, I was just fuming. And what got me over it, it took a lot of time. It's not like, boom, I forgive you. No. It's when I realized forgiveness, it doesn't come. It's a decision.
Yeah. It's a process of decision.
Yes. Yeah. Forgiveness is a decision. And it took me so many times. I couldn't forgive her. I was like, Christine, come on. Just say, I forgive you. And let's start from there. So there was that, and I realized, like, love over fear, what am I afraid of? That she'll abandon me again? Well, she's already dying, no offense, so she can't leave me she'll just take care of her. Like, use all love, and don't treat your enemy like how they treated you. My mom left
me. That's a really important lesson, right? Because there's so many people today, we harbor hatred and resentment and revenge and bitterness, this poison. And I always say, I firmly believe that the emotions that you have a physical impact. So it's that whole thing.
You're right, absolutely.
It's like poison for you, not for the other person.
Absolutely.
So that decision, that decision of freeing yourself, not them, you're freeing yourself if you decide to forgive somebody. But it's hard to do. It's hard.
It's hard, but if you're encountering this right now, just remember that you're gonna regret if you don't take care of him or her, because you had the opportunity to. And I think the universe, again, as Tony Robbins says, life happens for you. Maybe there's a lesson there. So you're right, it's difficult, but just do it, again, like you said, for the sake of your mental sanity as well.
So you went through all of this, like you said, it was almost like it must have been a why me? Why have I got to go back to a country that I don't live in, to a culture that I'm not part of anymore, to a mum that abandoned me, and live in a cancer institute who are dying and watch death. You must have been thinking, what did I do? Somebody tell me.
Oh my goodness, I was exactly just what you said. I was like, why is this happening? And to add to that, when it starts raining, it starts to pour too, and I talked to my dad about it. He got mad at me because my dad took care of me, right? And he was like, why are you going back to your mom to take care of that? So it was like stuck in the middle, and he got mad, so I felt more alone. So there's that. So but got over it.
But out of all of that, exactly, would you say you've learned some of your biggest lessons actually from that?
100%. I believe, like, your struggles really shape your character. Really. And my mindset at the latter part of it, I was like, this story is going to help people who are going through the same thing. And cancer is an epidemic. And if you can get through this as a caregiver, you can help a lot of caregivers around the world. It's definitely life changing.
It's funny how death has been life affirming for you, though. I think
definitely.
that's a beautiful thing that you're taking something.
Right.
Some people could be sitting there going, God, I had all that and then I had all after, but you've actually turned it into something positive for yourself, which is just amazing. Incredible, and I honor that you've done that. So
thank you. And I have to say, really, like, the books you surround yourself with is so important. During that time, it's so easy to just listen to, let's say, Ed Sheeran, or just like sad songs crying, but you can't do that to yourself, honestly, which goes to my third lesson, self-care. The first few days I was there, I was eating junk, I couldn't move, I was so mad at the world. I couldn't take care of my mom like that. I was like, what are you gonna do, Christine? So again, self-care, you can't love if you're not full. So it's so important to take care of yourself and to be mindful of your environment. So during that time, I was on personal development, like steroids. It was like Tony Robbins, Tom Billy, like everything, like just to stay strong, which I think is so important. You can't do it alone, honestly. In a tough situation, you need podcasts like this to help you, because honestly, like, if you think you're that strong, honestly, you're gonna break down. And it's ugly. So it's good to have support around you.
Absolutely. That's just amazing, isn't it? Inspirational.
Thank you.
So proud of you in a non-patronizing way for everything that you've gone through, and that you're brave enough to share those lessons, and you have literally got to write that book, that journal.
Yeah.
I feel is there like for a reason, to help share in a really powerful way with more people in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is there any, so you've got 3 main lessons. Would you distill that down into any one sentence that you would want to share as your life lesson that you would want to impart with everybody today, Christine?
Sure. So I'm assuming your audience are all very, very intelligent, smart people. Definitely.
Absolutely.
So what I'm going to impart is succeed with love. Don't ever forget love, because at the end of the day, with all your money in the bank, what is the purpose of everything? So succeed with love. Chase your dreams, but don't ever forget the people around you, because life is so short, you know? So there, succeed with love.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
Christine.
much.
We're so pleased that you've taken the steps to share this with us today, and thank you on behalf of everyone who's listening, who I know it will resonate with so many people out there today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.